And welcome to the P114 Filmmakers podcast. And today we're going to talk about all things filmmaking once again. I'm one of your hosts, Jesse Knight.
I'm Randall Lanier.
Cat Holmes.
Tyler Schultze.
All right, so today we've got kind of like a broad topic to kind of deal with, this sort of gelatinous glob of like show formats, you know? So you have like things like the half-hour comedy. Why is it that comedy only kind of goes to sort of the half-hour lengths? Why don't they do hour-long comedies and stuff? Maybe they do. You know, I'm kind of dumb on some things. I don't know some things. You know, and then you've got like hour-long like dramas typically that kind of split all over the place. You got procedurals. You've got historical things. You've got like fantasy-oriented stuff. You know, you've got like sort of drama, kind of dark stuff like Ozark and some things like that, if you've seen those or not. So, gosh, how do we even begin to kind of attack this, you know? What do you think?
Go ahead, Kat.
My favorite, the half-hour sort of sitcom-like stuff.
Yeah.
I've grown to not like as much.
Right.
Like there was a show, Hot in Cleveland, that I really liked.
Yeah.
And it was the studio sitcom-like thing, but there's sort of a weird dynamic with the on-stage sitcom-like things that I don't like as much. Like I think the best one was Frasier.
Oh. And
Frasier it was such clever writing, and I feel like that's been lost. Like, their audience isn't going to get that. We have to do dumbed-down jokes.
Do you think comedy has gone more into the world of shock?
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
being more like kind of over the top, more in your face, you know, pushing that line of like what is socially acceptable to say in mixed company, that kind of stuff, or what?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
What are some things?
Whereas drama, I think, has only gotten better.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Occasionally, though, they'll, like, in medical dramas, they'll do, the
Right.
cheap payoff, I think, is
Right.
that's what I call it, like cheap drama, made up drama, like in reality TV, kind of.
Right. You know, like an ER, Grey's Anatomy, or
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll definitely agree with her that comedy is definitely not there anymore as they used to. But sometimes it depends. I really don't watch a lot of sitcoms anymore.
Right.
With an all, because some people don't. General public, I've noticed they've talked about, and I've heard podcasts where they don't like the audience. They like the one camera sitcom, if you will, like a Modern Family,
Right.
which I don't ever watch, but I'm just saying, something without a laugh track or an audience, or
Right.
that type of thing, where you have to kind of like, oh, that's funny, you laugh for yourself, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But I'm kind of like, if the writing's there, no matter what kind of format you're doing, it's going to be
should
funny.
work. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, for instance, Big Bang Theory's got an audience. I'm just using that as the newer
And that's
sitcoms or
probably
whatever.
3 camera kind of setup stuff like the old days.
3 to 4 camera
Live
sitcom.
studio audience.
That actually was kind of going away for a little while. Now they seem like they've just gone.
Wait, it's a live audience?
I think so.
They do.
Cool.
They'll bring in like
I didn't know they still did
those kind of things. They'll have like not like hundreds of people usually, but it's like 20, 30 people. They'll be there, and they're there to probably laugh at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I know some talk shows and Jimmy Fallon and stuff. They'll have a dude with a sign or something like what was it? Back in the talk shows. Oh my God!
Did they tell you when to laugh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they'll have a guy who's there to manage applause, laugh, all that kind of stuff.
Wait, what?
To get the audience to hit those points too, so the audience is being directed too. Strange, right?
Well, the sitcoms definitely had to kind of like, because they have to hit the joke just right, and they have to hear the laughter of it from the audience. And if the actors mess up their lines, then that joke, if they redo the joke again, the audience may not laugh as much with that joke again.
Right.
Because when they first got it, it may laugh, but then but then somebody else right after them messes up a line or whatever type thing, and so the audience has to go through that again, and it's like, okay, this is not as funny anymore.
Well, they'll use like also canned laughter too in the edits. They'll throw that into.
That sounds better, cause
you know,
I'd be like, ha.
Mm-hmm.
Laugh anymore.
Speaking of this,
Please.
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. I watched when I was a kid. There was a sitcom called Mr. Belvedere. It was I liked it as a kid. It was a family sitcom. It was a family sitcom, or whatever. And I got DVDs of it. They had DVDs on Shout Factory or whatever. I was able to get DVDs of it, and the funny thing about I was in with my parents at one time. They were watching a sitcom from at that time, which was it Two Broke Girls or whatever? I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that sitcom.
Yeah.
Two Broke Girls, okay. It was it was funny to me to hear, because what I did was I left the room because I didn't really want to watch it, and I heard from another room. I heard the laughter. I didn't necessarily hear the jokes. I just heard the laughter.
Right.
And every few seconds, it was laughter. Boom,
Right.
boom, boom. It was like they have to have a joke every 2 seconds or whatever, or they didn't do. But then they watched Mr. Belvedere, some of the DVDs I had, and you didn't hear the laughter all the time. You heard the talking. You just heard eventually laughter here, laughter there. And I know there's stuff funny on there, but it's just like the audience.
Right.
So it was just a kind of a weird thing to see from two different time frames, because Mr. Belvedere was in 1985,
Right.
and Two Broke Girls was just 2000s or whatever.
And I'd say how they did it was there'd be a main punchline. They put the laughs in there.
Yeah, it was just like they had to have a punchline every 2 seconds. That broke Two Broke Girls or whatever type thing.
As often in a sitcom, every little thing is kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But you're having them laugh at every little joke.
That's just. I'm there again. I'm not sure if it's canned laughter. If they had a live audience on Two Broke Girls or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Belvedere for that matter. I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
So I don't. But yeah, I mean, just to go on that. I mean, I think definitely sitcoms have come kind of like The Office, for instance. The Office.
Yeah.
That kind of. It was a English British sitcom, but then
No laugh track.
Right, and no laugh track. It was one camera sitcom, no 3 or 4 cameras.
Right.
And so it was just like, that's hilarious. To me, it was funny. I actually like the American one better than the British one. But that's something different. They started up with Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Rec does
I never watched
same
it, but
thing.
I never watched any
That's
of the
good.
other stuff. But,
So good.
Yeah.
and
Parks
so,
and Rec, that does have really good writing.
so I mean, I think it's. But at the same time, too, could you watch an episode of The Office? Let's say you really like The Office, you watch an episode of The Office, and then watch an episode of Big Bang Theory if you like Big Bang Theory. I'm not assuming anything. And could you just and enjoy them on their same level?
You can.
As long as the writing's there, I feel like you can at least.
I agree.
It's not like I can say, "Oh, Office is so much better," because I don't hear they're not telling you to laugh.
Right.
Like I'll tell you,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I loved and still love it now. Even my dad would watch it because it's such a good show. Was Drake and Josh on Nickelodeon?
Yes.
It is hilarious. The jokes they throw is so well done, but they had the laugh in it, and it never bothers me because it is funny.
Right.
Yeah.
It only bothers me like I watched my sister. She was younger. She watched that show called Austin and Ally.
Oh.
Worst Disney show I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
You have the kid that comes in with the turtlenecks and he's saying all these things that aren't funny, but you hear the laugh track and it makes me angry because I'm like, that's not funny.
Right.
And you know it's not funny. It's cringy. And it makes me mad. It's like, no. Don't give him credit for that. It's not funny. That's not a joke.
Children's shows have gone down.
They've gone way down. I remember,
so bad.
Right.
I people used to make fun of me because I watched some Disney Channel shows and you're like, what are you? But I loved Good Luck Charlie.
Yeah,
that was a
great.
funny
that was
show.
Like the last good one.
Last good one. It had the dad, the mom. The mom always talk about how she's young, looks young with the sister. She's like, thank you. It was really good. It was funny, and I actually enjoyed it. But then you had like Austin and Ally, and then what are the other new ones? I don't remember. But it just seems like they don't try as hard now, maybe.
Right.
Because I think they know they don't have to.
Yeah.
And there's
I get
all the
that.
political correctness too.
Correctness.
Yeah, which.
But.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword with PC kind of culture, right? There's some things, obviously, we shouldn't do that anymore, but then it's like, where's your balance? You know,
Oh.
Yeah.
what can you laugh? What's safe to laugh at? What's not safe to laugh at? I think all of us have our own kind
Wizards
of
the
scale
Place.
for that.
That was before Good Luck Charlie, though, right?
But that was another
That
good
was
one.
pretty good,
That
too.
was another good one. And that was very cool. You ever see the show Wizards of Waverly Place?
Mm-mm.
Very good show because it's magic and it just played well.
It had an interesting storyline.
Storyline,
It had
it worked.
plot.
I hate to say it,
That's another thing. They had plot.
the last shows like that I watched was back in the day. It was like Saved by the Bell, and then on Nickelodeon it was like you can't do that on television, you know. So it's just like that's ancient stuff.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But my argument to it though
Old
is
fogey, isn't he?
Yeah.
I like the laugh track when it knows that it is funny
Yeah.
because I'm laughing already.
Laugh tracks almost become a rhythm to
Yeah.
the show. They're supposed to hit there, you know, and if it misses, it's like, what's up with that, you know?
Yeah, so like with Drake and Josh though, because every joke hits and the laugh starts,
Right.
and you're like, yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, there are though some newer comedies that for whatever reason I like. Like I liked The Office and Parks and Rec and stuff like that, and then beyond that. And this kind of also goes into like, okay, some shows kind of push the line on purpose and stuff. And I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. These people are totally horrible people. They're really in one place. It's all hijinks and like, oh, how are they going to mess it up this time kind of thing, you know? And it just depends on your own sense of humor and stuff like that. But it does though. They're on like 11th season or something, and they're running out of stuff to do in that little space there. But that's pretty good lifetime of a show to make it to double digits in your seasons. Like that's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you think of other stuff like Arrested Development, and it has some clunkiness to it, but there was something about it that made all the fans go crazy to bring it back. You know, and I kind of liked some of the stories in the first season or two better than what they did with it, but it was still kind of interesting. No laugh track though.
Yeah.
Very
one camera.
yeah.
I mean, I never watched it, but
yeah.
I know the show you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I also too, like you just said, we're talking about PC, you know, way things are done now or whatever type thing.
Right.
I'm gonna go back in the past to The Simpsons.
Right.
When they first started up, they were controversial.
Sure.
Believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you think of it now today? You probably laugh at this
Wholesome and
now. It was very controversial back then.
Oh yeah.
Because Bart was a scallywag, or
He was a scallywag. He was a troublemaker.
Trickamaker. That's what I'm trying to think. Scallywag. Wow. I'm even going even
That
further
works.
back. But he was like, you know, he wasn't, you know, he was not the typical sitcom kid, if you will, you know, whatever type thing. And he didn't listen to his parents. He just, you know,
Right.
and so he was kind of like believe it or not, he was a breakout star of the sitcom. I know it's an animated sitcom, but he was kind of the breakout star at first. Then Homer eventually became more of a forefront. But
I had a "Don't Have a Cowman" T-shirt when I was a kid. You know.
They were shirts, produced, and people were like, "Oh God,
Bart Simpson was
he was the downfall of society, or whatever type thing." So I mean, seriously, it was like that. It was like that. But see, Simpsons started when I was in junior in high school. So I'm 45 now. So just to let you know that how long it's been.
Sophomore.
Junior,
he's a freshman.
Young. But anyway, it had a bite to it though. Even the sitcom, the writing in it had a little bit of bite to
and
it.
a little bit of that.
It wasn't a typical sitcom that you see, you know, hadn't seen before.
I think the first episode was about a radioactive fish caught in the local lake near the nuclear power
one of the
plant.
early ones.
One of the early ones, and that's kind of dealing with serious issues put into this. So they had that sort of moralistic thing, which is now it feels like it's more that than what it used to.
But it had a little bite. Each humor, the humor had a bite to it or whatever type thing, where it's like, whoa, should I laugh at that or not? You know, kind of thing. You know. But then you started as it went along. It got it was good. Then I think everybody says, if you talk to a Simpsons fan or whatever, everybody says it kind of went downhill around season 9, 10, somewhere around there because the writing kind of started getting fluffier.
Sure.
And they started doing a lot of people, you know, like a lot of special guests and stuff like that. And that kind of got modal together and all that sort of stuff. Which,
Right.
if you look at, it's kind of funny how if you watch some of the old seasons and compare it to how it got to.
Not to mention the animation
number-
changes a little bit too. A
Yeah.
little bit.
But then I stopped watching it pretty much.
Yeah.
11 or 12 season or whatever. But anyway, and then see, right around that time, 9-10 came around. Family Guy came around.
Right.
Another animated series. Family,
Right, it's
about
animated
family.
sitcom, yeah.
Yeah, animated sitcom about family. They had a little more bite to it.
Yeah.
Though. The bite got, it got
It was
a little
rougher.
more- Again, should I laugh at this or should I not laugh at this?
And
it's
sometimes
just-
it's like, yeah, I can't laugh at that.
Yeah,
With Family Guy.
but and then you had to figure out, okay, is baby who, I mean, I'm not sure if y'all know Family Guy, but I'm not going to assume anything. But how the baby talks or whatever, or do they understand
Stewie.
him or not, type thing, and the dog talks. That's weird, that's not a normal
Brian
family
understands Stewie,
Yeah.
but it's really up in the air whether the parents can hear what he's saying or not. You don't know. You still
or anybody
don't know.
else for that matter.
Yeah.
Sometimes strangers will understand them, sometimes they won't, whatever.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like they got a little more bite to it, and I think they've kind of gone to fluffier now, or whatever, where they've gotten to a point. Which I haven't watched Family Guy in
Yeah,
a
I haven't
while, so I
watched it
don't
in a
know.
while either. Yeah.
But anyway, I think part of it is bite. Like I said, it lost. Like I said, The Simpsons lost bite. Lost that comedy's bite to it.
Right.
I started watching Family Guy regularly.
Sure.
And I had that, and then that eventually kind of wearing down too.
I will say there's a newer one with a lot more bite, and I don't think you've watched it much or at all, but it stems from another one. Like Dan Harmon is a current comedy writer that's out there, and he started with I don't know, he might have had stuff before that, but you think of The Community, that show, and that's very much feels like your standard kind of sitcom.
Oh, it's got like a lot of
part of. And then it gets weird, and it gets strange, but good weird. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of reality. This is happening now. It's sort of like that. And then, but it branched off, going back to animation. Rick and Morty is a show now,
I've
pretty
seen
popular,
some episodes.
and it's got everything's got a bite in that, seemingly. And it's sort of like an answer to that. In a kind of sense, and maybe I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on the arc of Rick and Morty. I don't know if it's just going to fizzle out, but they got 70 episodes to do. But, will it become like The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Will it kind of... one can hope, because that's The Simpsons on
what Rick and Morty has though.
season 20-something?
The Family Guy and Simpson doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rick and Morty has a story,
Mm-hmm.
an overall story in there that keeps you more engaged. Simpsons and Family Guy, it's just kind of random sometimes they have episodes, but the overall show of Rick and Morty, which I think why it succeeds, is because you want to know Rick's past,
Right.
and they keep changing and tweaking, and you want to know who his wife is,
Right.
and it keeps going, you thought, and there's a backstory in there.
Yeah, and you're given little tidbits.
You're getting little tidbits, and that's why I think that show is pretty successful now, is because, again, story.
Yep.
It has a story. It's in there, and they just a little bit nod at it every once in a while in the episodes.
And everything's about high concept kinds of things.
I think also too, Chad, I think they do have a little bit of leeway with being on a cable station and late at night.
Sure.
That kind of thing, in comparison to the other
CBS,
sitcoms,
NBC, ABC,
Fox, and they kind of have a.
They're being
levels
forced
where
to
they can-
kind of
yeah.
push the edge a little more too.
Right. But they have a certain level they have to do or whatever
Right.
type thing to keep the show on the air.
Right.
But yeah, Rick and Morty does. I mean, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But you were saying about sitcoms in general. Why is sitcoms typically
Why do they keep
half
it that
an
half hour?
Yeah. I think comedy can only go. You can only go so far with comedy till you kind of say, okay, let me step away from this, and I'll come back to it in the next week or whatever you want to do.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm just thinking of that.
It
You know,
could
where-
be.
You
Well,
go
if-
really hard with it like sitcom does, you can get tired of it. Like
Yeah.
a hard drama show, like you need to chill for a second
Right.
before you keep going.
We're talking about the Kimmy Schmidt show, the Unbreakable Kimmy
Unbreakable
Schmidt.
Kimmy Schmidt, yeah.
Love that thing, but I got tired because they're just going at it every episode. And it's like, okay, I need to calm down in my life for a little bit. Then I can go back to it, you know. because every episode's like, oh my god.
So high energy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
high
even
energy.
if you're introverted and you're watching it,
Yeah.
you can get drained a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of interesting. So, would we say that a lot of stuff is built upon our own tolerances of what we can take? You know, I think that's sort of a science to it. I mean, if you were interested in making money in the business, you would want to do that. You know, sales is all about human physiology and psychology and stuff like that. You know, it has been. You know, get people to buy something somehow. You know, whether it's a subliminal image or a message you got in it, or how you portray something. I want to do that too. You know, I want to own this because it's going to make me as happy as that person on TV. You know, I don't know, but it's kind of interesting. Whereas a police procedural or drama, maybe because it takes more time to unfold a story, you need that room.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, but characterization. Okay, let's go to that. Like, because characterization's kind of, you have to do the same in a comedy as you do in a drama. You have to draw your people in to love the characters or hate the characters or react to the characters in some kind of way. You know, and it's definitely, I think, as a writer, that's got to be, there's a big difference in fitting in a tiny little package as opposed to having the room and the breath to kind of gradually work on characters. I know with the hour-long stuff, it seems like it might take me 2 or 3 episodes to kind of get into the series, you know, generally, because they got to do a lot of setup in the beginning and stuff.
Backstories.
And sometimes comedies just start right in the middle of the mess, and you're there, and you're already in it. And
I think. Well, yeah. I mean, that's that area.
Maybe?
I just thought about that. I mean, I thought about it. Yeah, sitcoms, they just tend to dump you in the middle of whatever. They don't. I mean, maybe it's the writing too, because like we said, it's fast paced, a little more faster paced,
right?
Where they can give you the backstory real quick. Oh yeah, you used to work for the whatever. You used to work this here, but you don't work here anymore. You work for this. But anyway, I mean, it's kind of more faster writing, maybe to a point.
I think so.
Maybe it's or maybe just writers don't feel like you don't need a lot of back. Maybe eventually we'll give you some backstory, but we don't need to give you everything or whatever type thing as much.
Here's an interesting notion. I want to know what y'all think about that. Do you think collectively overall humans might be a tiny bit smarter than we were 2 or 3 decades ago? Just because of the amount of information we're exposed to. Because Rick and Morty is actually pretty damn complex. Like it's a lot of high concept stuff, but you got to be cool with time travel, interdimensional stuff, and all this kind of stuff for those jokes to work. And I don't think it would be as successful if they pushed it to 1980 and they made Rick and Morty happen back then. I don't think it would have worked.
That's what the Marvel movies, if they had just did Infinity War now, I mean, not now, but back then, people would have been like, what? A purple alien wanting stones?
Yeah.
Why is Spider-Man in space? That doesn't make sense. Like,
you know.
You have to spoon feed people.
Not that we were dumber per se, but just like what we're experienced. Like now we're getting a lot more information and stuff pummeling us.
I think it's just, like you said, as time goes, you get more things come to you. And, like, you know, we learn more.
You know, are we more enlightened or
I wouldn't,
more advanced than we were back then? I don't know.
It was definitely better back then because there was a standard of writing that was a lot higher than we are right now.
Perhaps, or make an argument for formalist tradition.
There is that, yeah.
You know, where craft is honed in to a certain level within those constraints.
I'd say humans, though, back then were a lot more brutal and stronger.
Maybe.
They could
more conservative, definitely.
More like
and more hard mind ideals.
Yeah. Right. And now we're in a period where a lot of these ideals are crumbling and reforming, and that I don't know. Interesting.
And then there's also the political correctness that puts you in a little bit of a box sometimes.
Yeah, but you look at the comedy today, comedy in the past. It's like comedy today is way more raunchier, way more like over the, they're really, the dirty jokes are all out on the table. Back in the day, it was more subtle, right?
Yeah.
Which there's an art to that too.
Which I like personally, and there are lots of people who like the raunchier stuff better.
Right. Yeah. It depends, for me, it depends on the writing.
That's me.
I can like the subtle stuff.
The thing about it is, like you just said about the writing and how things, I remember again, I'm going back in the past.
Good.
The sitcom MASH.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay.
And now it used to play on like 9 o'clock.
Is it that Vietnam?
It's a Korean War. It's
Korean
about
War.
a
Grandfather showed me that.
great show.
I watched a bit of it.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's so sad.
Our age is
What?
winding.
You said a grandfather. I'm like, don't bring grandfather
sorry.
up or whatever. You know.
He really loves
If I
it.
tell you
I
I
We
watched
are
it.
old enough to
Channel 8
be accidental
Hazel
grandfathers.
I watched
and
it.
Humor and the Three Stooges,
Yes.
and I watched that on my own.
But I mean, had you said father, I'd be like, okay, I'm going with you. But you said grandfather.
No,
I'm
my dad's
like,
not really into it.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But MASH was really serious and really is
It was sitcom based
great.
in a very bad
Yeah.
place. But
yeah.
the you just said about vulgar humor, or if you want to say vulgar humor,
Right.
or whatever, they did have a
They have a
lot
ton of that
humor.
in MASH too.
And the thing about it
Yeah.
is, this used to be play at 9 o'clock at night, which normally back in the day, 8 of course 8 to 11 was considered prime time.
That's what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
But
too.
8 o'clock,
Mhm.
the 8:30 was more family sitcoms,
Right.
whatever. 9 o'clock, we were a little more
The kids go to bed,
higher
so
up.
parents stay up
the
after that.
kids would go to bed at 9 o'clock, so maybe a little more raunchier sitcoms for the
Right.
time,
Yeah.
like Three's Company and
Sure.
MASH and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had a little more quote unquote risque. But then
Right.
when MASH went in syndication, they showed it 4 or 5 times a day in
Oh,
certain things,
Mhm.
and maybe even and when I was a kid, that's how I watched it, because as a kid I couldn't stay up.
It's a direct
Watch it
influence on
not-
culture.
So when I got older, we visited those sitcom or those episodes. I was just like, wow, I can't believe they had that humor or whatever that was not. I mean, I don't say in your face raunchy, but it was
Right.
subtle humor of this stuff or whatever.
I would say that show still holds up. Thinking about it, it's been a while, but I remember when I was in high school, MASH was already super old then. I was watching it on VHS. I didn't have cable TV or anything like that, but we had recorded a couple hundred episodes of that, so I'd watch it. I had it all memorized back then. Yeah, that's a show. That's one of those anomalies.
Yeah.
That's an anomaly show almost,
I mean, the first episode was shown 1973, the day I was born. So,
Right.
And I didn't see, like I said, I didn't start watching the syndicated reruns until way later on. But
There's a book and movie before the show.
yeah. But looking at that, but like I said, the writing was there. The writing
Yeah.
was good enough
Yeah,
to be.
it was good.
It wasn't like, oh, hey, yeah, they're just like.
Mhm.
It's like it wasn't in your face raunchiness or anything like that. It was
Sure.
just very subtle little comments or whatever. I'm like,
Right.
and I, as a kid, didn't click with me. As a kid,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that's funny, I guess, whatever. But then, like later on, I was like, as a adult, I was like, wow, I can't believe they had this
That's
show
true.
because in syndication now they cut up a lot of stuff because they
Yeah.
show less of the show and more commercials.
Right.
Back then, they still had roughly, they still
That's
showed
true.
roughly the full
Mm.
They show
episode
more
or whatever.
commercials,
type
yeah.
thing.
Maybe so.
Hmm? Sorry.
Yeah, more money.
The Walking
Yeah.
Dead was annoying because it was constantly commercials.
Yeah.
So I got tired of watching it. We'd just wait on Netflix because it was like,
Yeah.
The worst was
the new
watching.
Kia. And I was like, I already saw the Kia.
The worst was
Whenever-
growing up watching a movie on TV. It'd be every
Yeah.
5-10 minutes and
Oh,
go to
yeah.
a commercial for
Yeah.
5 or 10 minutes.
Right?
It's annoying.
But
Take 3 hours to watch an hour and a half movie.
yeah. But yeah. But and then I always put in if it was a rated R movie, what do they always edit in people's voices or whatever type thing?
Yeah.
Uh,
If they said shit or whatever, they'd put
yeah.
in stuff. Shoot. Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's
it's funny. Pain and Scan was pretty huge then too.
I laughed at that because I saw, what was it? It's the girl, Melissa McCarthy, is that her name?
Melissa McCarthy, yeah.
Mm.
Her cop movie.
Oh yeah.
I remember walked in and my mom was watching it and they said, freak you. And I was like, is that in the movie? And they constantly did it and I went, oh no, they dubbed that over.
Yeah, they did.
But it was funny because she was like, freak you. And the girl was like, freak you. And I was like, looked at my mom and went, freak you. It was just very funny.
Yeah.
They were able to do it. But it sounded like it was from the movie. Like,
Right.
they got way better at it. I was like,
They
is
would
that what
do
they
it-
say in the movie?
They would do it in comics too, but the original word actually would be I think of one character called Lobo, And he always said, he said frack even
Yeah.
before
Battlestar Galactica.
before Battlestar Galactica did, which means, you know, the grandfather of all F words and curse words. But, you know,
Yeah.
but as a kid reading, it's like, I know what that word is, you know.
But, yeah. But I was gonna say, well, there was a it was I think TBS, they did a Die Hard 2 was playing, and this was on Conan O'Brien. He did a thing where he was showing the end of it where he says, what does he say?
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah.
UK motherfucker. That's the standard line for him. But in the edited version of it, he did goodbye, Mr. Falcon, or something like that. And he said, who the heck is Mr. There's nobody in the movie named Falcon or whatever.
Goodbye, Mr. Falcon.
It was when Conan had just started at TBS, and he was talking to the standards and practices guy or whatever, and he showed him the thing on the movie. He said,
Gotta love Conan.
what the heck was that? You know.
Goodbye, Mr. Falcon.
Yeah. I loved Conan back then because it's
but like I said, I think it's I don't know where I'm going.
Well, this is a amorphous blob of things to talk about. You know, like you know, you could go into like back in the day, things were structured more. You know, you had these regular TV channels, so you know you depended on that show to come on every week. You know, and it was sort of more there. And generally, it seemed like you got more episodes per season back in the day because of how it was all constructed. Now we live in a place where you have one season happen. It might be 2 years before the next season happens. And then that you get, it seems like, and you can correct me, it seems like there's less episodes and then they do this split, which I think is actually a good thing for if you're working on these shows. You know, you get like 8 episodes or 6 or 7 episodes in the fall. You get a little winter break, and then around you know, February, March, you get the second batch of that season coming through. That's kind of a new thing within the last, I don't know, 10 years or so.
Yeah.
You know, our first early shows I saw doing that was like Battlestar Galactica. You know, it's like, when is this darn last season ever going to come out? You know, and you hear all kinds of things about the money and the problems and stuff. Then it finally does. You get like 4 episodes, and then forever goes by, and then a few more. You know, it's kind of strange. Now it seems more like on a regular kind of thing. Like I watched the show Empire, and I know I'm going to get like 6 episodes in the fall, and probably another 6 in the spring. You know, or something like that. I don't know.
I think also too, shows in general are structured differently to where, like I said, when we were growing up or whatever type thing, maybe that even the hour-long dramas were mostly were procedural.
Right.
Even the ones who weren't procedural, which the majority were procedural.
Right, you get a few that aren't. Yeah.
And then so you could come into, that's the concept of the show. So you come in. If you were not a fan of the show, you can come in at any time and join the show or whatever. Say, oh, okay, you know, I don't have that. There's no other storyline going on behind the scenes or whatever.
Right.
And then that changed after a time, especially now more than ever.
Yeah.
They have more, like, they have maybe a storyline going on in the episode, and that gets solved at the end of the.
Right, but you got a sub-story.
But you got a sub-story in the background or whatever going
like
on,
Morty,
and it kind of goes through the length of the season or whatever type thing.
X-Files really honed that in a lot, because you're still wondering, like, they have that little the stuff going on that's continuing that kind of keeps you wanting to watch it, but then it's like self-contained too. You know, I thought it was a brilliant show back in the day.
Oh yeah, confusing at times.
Oh yeah, it's neat to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
But also. Deep Space Nine was also too that way. It had it was Star Trek Deep Space Nine is. They had the same thing too, where they had their own little thing, and they had always other stuff going on in the background. They would always bring it up in each episode or whatever type thing. That was rare for, especially Star Trek at the time, to do something like that.
They toyed around with a little bit in Next Generation, but they really did it better in Deep Space Nine. You know,
But yeah, that's why mostly you get out of shows. I mean, there's not really. Well, I mean, I guess there's some on like CBS and ABC. There's still shows that have the weekly. Let's get the bad guy. We got the bad guys. Could be
CSI is probably. I don't watch CSI, but I imagine that.
That was not even CSI anymore.
Yeah.
NCIS.
NCIS. Right.
I never did like those shows.
I never watched.
I never watched.
My mom loves them.
I watched NCIS Los Angeles.
Okay.
I like that.
Huh.
Yeah, they'll do like what is there Hawaii 5-0 and.
Hawaii Five-O was great. You can't say anything bad about Hawaii.
I never
5-0.
watched it. It was
I don't know. I get confused because it's like you watch just example CSI. Yeah, I watch CSI NC though. Like what?
Yeah. There's
Oh, New York.
I mean, they have like even on NBC, same guy who did Law and Order and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Which was was a little bit of take on procedurals, which I never watched it a lot, but it was a little bit of different take than the regular procedural.
Half of it's detective work, half of it's court case stuff.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a little bit of a swerve than the usual procedural,
And it worked for them. Geez, how many seasons of Law and Order are there?
And then there's how many spin-offs and all that other stuff to it too. But the thing about Dick Wolf is the guy behind him now. But the thing about he's doing the same thing now, but just in Chicago. It was that was mostly all New York, based in New York.
Right.
Shows Law and Order. Now it's just the same thing, but it's based in Chicago.
Just change the city.
But doing it for NBC too, same channel, same network, and everything.
Hey, what a career! One can only hope,
But anyway, he's got like Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, and some something like that. And so he's doing the same thing.
So he's a showrunner.
Yeah. I think I don't know if he's a showrunner per se,
but
he's the creator, guru behind the whole thing.
Right.
Executive producer or whatever type thing of the whole thing. But I mean, some stuff, just gets. I mean, some of like I said, the procedural stuff gets mired in some things because my dad loves NCIS, and if I have to sit down and watch with him or whatever type thing, I'm like. And it's just like because it's just like but because they got like civilians working with them. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Now,
it's like they're not qualified.
That's the thing about a lot of shows that seem like it has come maybe procedurals more than others shows is that there's always this one person who's supposedly the audience. We're the audience. We're supposed to look in on them and say, hey, that person I relate to that person because they don't know what's going on. The stars of the show are the ones who are telling us all this information or whatever type thing, and they know the stuff. They're intelligent.
You're talking about the people who are a catalyst for exposition.
Right, exactly. And so I mean, it's just like then they get these people in there who are somewhat civilians, but they help them out or whatever type thing. And they're the computer people. They're always the people in the in a room, and they got a computer, and they're saying, okay,
Oh, that's the smart person on the computer.
They got glasses. They always wear glasses too. You could be one of them. But it's a nice job. It's a nice job. You're away from the bad guy. They're not going to get messed up.
Take off the glasses.
Then
That's right. You got the idea. You got the. It's time to get real. You pull the glasses off. It's time to get real. Here's the facts.
And then you go against the bad guy. But they always. But they. It's always a quirky person too, and it's not either male or female. They have females. They have males that do the same thing, same character. But it's like. The male is you just want to go like shut up because it's just like I gotta be so quirky and I gotta do some pop culture references and I gotta do this.
Get out of the way. Let the detectives do their work. I don't know.
And they always come in, with a guy when the guy people are talking to each other about the case or whatever the case may be, and it's just like and then the quirky person comes in and they gotta put some funny into it and because they gotta be the comic relief or whatever.
Sure.
And he just like and everybody just stares at him going like that and then he's like, well I didn't know. It's just like it just drives me up the wall because no workplace is like that. I don't care where it is.
So you'd prefer them to Stay a little more to what reality would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Or else everybody gets the idea, I can just walk into a crime scene and tell those cops how to do their jobs, and they'll give me a job. Yeah.
Good luck.
and
When
but
did I get in jail?
I mean,
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen. I'm supposed to be out there.
Yeah.
Look
Now that would be
into the
funny.
bar.
Somebody that has
What-
that, or just like they would be in reality, like
Right.
put in jail or
Yeah,
something for
exactly,
tampering with the
yeah.
crime
Just do what
scene.
the shows did.
Yeah.
well,
It's like
I use the
I'll be
example.
waiting for the call.
he's just sitting there. It's like the chief walks by and the guy's in the cell and he raises his hand. And he's like, "You don't need to do it." Oh. Like, can I get out? Like,
I'm helping you guys, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. I know this is may go off topic, but NCIS, okay, they had a girl. I think she's not on there anymore, but they had a girl, huh?
Abby?
Yeah. She always dresses golf in a golf outfits or whatever. Okay. She's mostly in a lab, so it does, whatever. She's mostly in a lab and she does investigate stuff. She doesn't go out on the field and all or stuff like the rest of them do. Okay, that's typical. But then they went on some sort of thing where I saw where she was going to go out with them to South America, I think it was.
Right.
Where she was gonna, I don't remember even though what the whole situation was about. Anyway, she had to go to South America with them. Okay, she's representing our country, and in this case, she's representing our country and all this other stuff. She comes in this dark, almost wedding dress thing out there, and I'm like, what? And she's wearing and it has a dark umbrella. It's weird. It was just like, and then like
they probably thought she was Lady Gaga or something.
Well, I'm wondering if they were like
she goes there and she's dressed like that, and I'm like, what? And then the guy who's in charge of the people in South America they gotta go to talk to, they make he knows her, so she said, "Oh yeah, I like you." They've met in some form or whatever,
Yeah.
so they don't say nothing bad to her or whatever.
Right.
But then she goes to, and then at their training facility too for the government's thing. She goes into one of their classrooms I don't know, to train them or do something or to talk to their class or whatever about forensic stuff or whatever. She goes in there and she's wearing a dog collar or whatever. Of course, she's got to be the goth person still. It's not the same outfit she had on earlier, but it's it's still got a dog collar on and it's still dressed up in her goth thing. And then the people the younger.
But they don't go into her character to really answer the questions why. They don't really go into her character why she is.
Well, I mean, I have no idea. They may have said it so many times, but I don't watch the show that much enough to even worry about it. And then they're talking. They kind of like you can see their faces going like that. And then she's talking to them about forensic and all this other stuff. And then they said, and one of them says something about kind of like puts her down or whatever.
Right.
And then she gets all huffy and puffy about it. Huffy and puffy about it. To them about it. I'm like, well, you're wearing this stuff. I mean, you got to be representing. If you're a teacher or whatever, you're going to be representing something or whatever type of thing. And that's like, oh, she puts them down. Like, hey, you don't treat people like this. You don't judge people for what they wear, which I can understand that. But in some cases, if you're
that wouldn't happen in real life.
Representing the U.S. government.
What I'm thinking is like, what were the people running the show thinking? And what I think, and this is just a big assumption, I really loved the series Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, right? Y'all heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Really written. That girl looks like that, and you know why, you know everything about her. She's the main character, all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, oh yeah, people like people that wear all black and dog collars and stuff. We're going to do that with this character. So then that audience is going to like this show.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's just a grand assumption.
Yeah.
But it happens,
But it wouldn't be in real life though.
Right. Sure.
It's just like, I can understand them if she's really smart, she's really good at her job.
Right.
And she's back at
but they don't play
the
her
old
like that,
lab or whatever, and she's doing her stuff. That's fine. But when you're out and about and you're representing,
Because it would have been funnier if she had to be somebody she wasn't.
Well, the FBI's not going to let you do that anyway.
You know what I mean? That would have been actually funnier than if she had to dress proper and they're looking at her making fun of her.
Yeah.
That honestly would have been better for the story.
Yeah, that'd be one thing. But it just, know,
Yeah, I
that
get what
just,
you're saying.
Like, pissed me off. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like, I mean, this is NCIS, which is the Naval Criminal Investigation. I'm former
Going
Navy,
along those
so I
same
just like.
lines, how many movies have you seen where it's a collection of super scientists of our world, the smartest brains ever, and they're completely idiots in the movie? They're just like, I don't see them directing themselves to go to the bathroom, let alone figure out how to make the special chemical that's going to do away with the
Yeah.
alien problem, you know? I mean,
Well,
that's a terrible explanation, but, you know, it's like, there were all these, it's like, how are these people qualified to be in those roles they're in? Like, there are all these, like, underwater, best thing is, like, looking at, like, Deep Star 6, Leviathan, and The Abyss. You know, Abyss does a little better with the people that are collected there, but... And the other ones, you know, they're trying to do what Alien did, where you have almost like blue-collar worker people, and that's how it would be. But in Alien was believable. You could believe the guys that worked on the ship and stuff and how they acted and stuff, but it seems like they'll bring a character in another, these kind of movies, and it's just like, God, and they're just getting mad at every little thing and causing all these problems. Like, you wouldn't have that person in that situation in real life.
I know, like,
you know, but
I saw
I don't know.
Alien Covenant, and it made me mad because the thing gets in that room, and she just opens the door to run away.
Yeah.
It's like, you would have training,
Mm-hmm.
you would obviously keep the door shut,
Yes.
and you would calm down, and you would ask for help,
Right.
but your main mission is to not let that out.
Right.
And that's why I didn't like that movie, because then she just runs and the thing runs out. And then she's just shooting everywhere.
Right.
It blows up their facility and kills pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, no,
That one happened.
go to the military. There's a reason they beat you down.
Little
So you
things.
can handle that.
You know.
So yeah, you're exactly right. Like,
There's small stuff like that.
it's like,
you know.
no.
I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing about, you know, go back to writing or whatever type thing. Yeah, I like, you know, like writing that I could see somebody saying that, or I could, you know, see somebody doing that, but then, you know, these other times where it's just like, people would not do that. That person wouldn't have said that to that person, and that person that wouldn't say it in
Right.
that respect, if nothing
But I can
else.
see if a show, like if CIS was a little more, if it was, because this is real serious, right?
Supposedly,
It's
yeah.
meant to be real serious, so it's like I can see how maybe that seems out. I don't know. I don't watch it. I can't really. I don't know. What do you think?
What do I think of like the NCIS?
Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
I don't really have any strong opinions on them. I watched Hawaii Five-0. I loved it.
Right.
I thought it had really interesting storylines for
Right.
every season.
Did it have
backstories.
like serious, of course, serious stories were going on, but did they have little moments of humor or whatever type thing in there too?
And they fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the key thing
That's
too.
the thing,
is the fit. But see, that's another thing you bring up, where I think dramas can also too bring out moments of humor.
Right. Of
But
course.
sitcoms sometimes can't bring out moments of drama.
Well, the one that did it really well was Scrubs.
I've watched some Scrubs, not all of them.
You know, you're right.
It was like a
Did
perfect
you guys
combination.
ever
Yeah.
watch Burn Notice?
Yes.
That show did it really well too, with him being like serious, but he came off, the way he would say things were really funny. But
Right.
you know, it wasn't out of character, but it would seem like, you know, if you didn't do it right, it would be. But
Right. Would Bones be considered kind of like
He
that?
played
Because it's
well.
about serious stuff, but the dude has a little bit of jokiness to him,
Yeah.
even
I've
though
never seen
he's a very depressed person as well. But it sort of has that humor that, yeah, I wonder.
I mean, like I
Yeah,
said,
MASH, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
super funny, ridiculous, almost slapstick, but then, like, oh God, death.
Yeah.
You know?
I like when they mix those two though.
Yeah, if it's done in the right way,
'Cause then
whatever,
you're
I think it's
also
different for all of
You're
us.
like, oh shoot, this is like the
Well,
real world. So
yeah.
we're just happy.
Well, see,
Uh-huh.
I remember sitcoms in some points in time that were always there's a special episode of something. You know,
Yeah.
They always have the announcer go,
Very
and
special
here's
episode.
a very special episode of da da da.
So
And
it's
it's
going to be
just like,
serious.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's that
I just
week
think of
that
Family
the guy-
Ties. I think of Family Ties.
A very special episode of Family Ties. You know, it's just like or Different Strokes. You know, all those
Not
sitcoms
yours.
back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, Tom Hanks was the drunk uncle
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Family
A
Ties.
very special episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's drinking like maraschino cherries.
This
He's like
was-
looking
this-
for alcohol. I'm
this
going
was
crazy
really-
in the house.
right post Splash, right after he did Splash
Yeah.
or whatever, he had still doing sitcoms or whatever.
Mhm.
He did two episodes of Family Ties where
I think.
it was
Yeah.
one he was like wanted by the FBI, I think, or something one time, and then the other
Right.
one he was just drunk.
Yeah. He was
Um,
just dealing with the alcohol problem.
Yeah. So, but
That's right. He
That
hit
was-
Alex.
Yeah.
He smacked Alex,
Mhm.
and that was super
see,
serious. There's nothing funny
that-
about that.
that's another thing too. They used to do that kind of stuff in sitcoms.
Yeah, he was-
There was an episode. There was an episode of I saw. Golly, it was a show called Give Me a Break. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, give me a break, jeez.
Where the father he's back slapping a girl in the episode. I was
Yeah.
like, oh crap, I forgot about this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just I hadn't seen stuff like that in sitcoms
That's
in a
the
very
show
long
Nell,
time.
right? Am I on the
Mhm.
Nell? Oh jeez, yeah.
This was like one of the earlier episodes or whatever.
Oh yeah, I
And
think
it-
I always got serious.
Like
on
during
that
the
show.
like the
Mhm.
late 70s or
Different strokes,
late
too.
70s, early 80s time frame. That you could see that in a sitcom.
Yeah, Different
And,
Strokes was like that.
um,
Good Times was like that.
Yeah.
They'd turn the serious nozzle up all of a sudden. It's like, oh my god, and then they'd go back to fun. You know.
But it was crazy.
Then you get the weird stuff like in the '90s. You get almost very like safety shows. Like I can think of like Full House. I can think of which it was funny and they got a little serious sometimes, but it was just on all the time, But then what is it like? My Two Dads was sort of in that same kind of thing, very sort of safe comedy stuff, Saved by the Bell. I love Saved by the Bell, but it's
that was
very-
more. They also too it was Saturday morning type stuff, so they had to be really
right.
kind of more-
They'd get serious though. I forgot there's some serious ones. I think somebody had a beer once or something.
Yeah, that's the drama they had on there. Somebody was taking diet pills. Or
Yeah,
that
something
was
like
the drug.
that.
That was the drug episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing too. The special episode was always drugs,
Drug related.
or
If it's a
alcohol, maybe, or
teenage
something.
movie. Yeah.
Kidnapping.
Right.
Just a little bit of kidnapping.
Different Strokes went crazy though. They went with pedophilia.
Pedophilia, that was
this
one of
guy
them.
taking pictures of kids at his bicycle store, and
he
it was
owned
like,
a
oh my
bicycle store.
god! I remember the little kid watching that.
Yeah.
They didn't show anything, of course, but it was still about that.
He
Nice.
tried to do.
Yeah.
That was. And they never said what he did. They always would go around the thing.
Yeah.
Because they never said what really went on. He didn't.
Mhm.
He wasn't a good man. That's what it was basically what it was.
Yeah.
They never said what he did.
Right.
But
But you could kind of fill that in with your imagination.
well, you didn't want to do that. But
Yeah, for sure.
But a very special blossom, and that was.
Was there?
I remember them saying that.
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time, saying,
Oh,
I can
geez.
hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I can hear that right now.
Yeah.
Tonight I'm a very special.
You're probably not gonna get. They don't do that anymore.
No,
Though. Yeah.
not as much anymore.
No.
Because that's what I'm saying. When sitcoms, it's like they can be kind of if they do go drama, it's kind
Right.
of cheesy, or it used to be anyway. And then they don't do that. I don't think Scrubs ever felt like that, or whatever. But
No.
but it was just like, but during the earlier period of time, it was just like if they went drama, they were like it was like that special
Oh
episode.
yeah.
And it's just like then it was.
MASH pretty much was always had that.
They
blend.
never had that. Yeah, they balanced
They
it
didn't
pretty
need
good.
it, yeah.
They didn't have that.
I remember as a kid there were some weird episodes. And I remember as
Mm-hmm.
a kid being really struck by those. They get kind of artsy. with
Yeah,
them,
the later episodes got kind of a little more serious action
Yeah.
than comedy, but
Right.
it became more of a.
Well, that's when
Sounding.
Hawkeye was
Yeah.
running the whole show then. Yeah.
Just change it up real quick. I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask a question that'd be fun.
Yeah.
What is one show you guys watched where the finale was good? Like it actually, satisfied you. You know what I mean? Like it actually wrapped
Yeah.
up well.
Psych.
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 Huh.
I'm a psycho.
Good question.
I'm,
Never watched. I know the show you're talking about, but I've never watched it.
So good. It was amazing.
man, thanks. That's
Right?
a hard
That's
one.
a good
That's
one to
top
think about
one.
because it's like some shows start off great, like for me, example, like Lost started really cool, and then it just
Fell
lost
apart,
me,
yeah.
and I was so
Yeah.
I
angry.
never watched it, but I heard a lot. Heard a lot about
Just
that.
like the first season, first 2,
Yeah.
3 seasons, excellent,
I mean,
excellent
Burn
show
Notice was
stuff.
depressing, but it was still pretty good ending.
I just think of all the bad ones, like
Right? I was trying to think of one that really
Yeah.
got me.
I
was like,
think the
Breaking Bad, maybe.
it
Because
did
Jesse
get me,
lives, that's
it
kind of
did
cool.
get me, but
yeah,
I think most people were happy with that
I was
because
happy-
it's not the cancer that killed him.
right.
but
yeah.
I was. There's a show.
And
I'm
he's-
trying to think.
Might still be alive too, maybe. uh-huh.
That just ended well.
I just keep thinking of the ones that didn't, like Sons of Anarchy.
It's
I'm like,
so-
just in 2 seconds of like storytelling at the
No.
end, they could have gone the other
I
way, and I
think-
would have liked
I
it.
think the show, the episode, the last episode itself wasn't. It was kind of like weird.
Of which, yeah,
But then the ending, I'll get
Yeah.
to it. The ending of it was brilliant.
yeah.
The very ending of it was brilliant. Was the show Newhart, the sitcom Newhart,
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
and it. I may spoil it for you
Before
because
you off time.
it's an okay. The concept of the show was basically it was Bob Newhart was the star of the show. He was a writer. But then he became he was a writer who owned an inn in Vermont.
Yeah, it's like
And it was like
pretty much
in a
bed-
small
a nice
town. In
bed
a small
and
town,
breakfast.
it was a
Yeah.
quirky small town. Everybody was
Yeah.
crazy,
Mhm.
and he was the the straight man
Yeah.
to everybody's
for sure.
quirkiness. And so at the last season is not as good. It's got some bits and
Right.
It's got some. They knew they were coming to an end, so they were I think they were just throwing stuff out there.
Right.
But the episode, the last episode, starts out really kind of where somebody comes in and buys the town, and this huge corporation buys the town or whatever, and Dick is the name of the guy, and his wife stay there, and their inn becomes a middle of a golf course or whatever type thing they
Right.
built there. It's silly. But it's weird. It's weird because it's really off kilter for everybody because the
But how they
the
end
actors, but the actors kind of weird is weird. Anyway, they get to the end and it shows he gets again. The ending of it was not as good, but he gets to a point where he gets knocked out by a golf ball because golf balls are constantly going through their inn all the time or whatever because whatever. And they're in the middle of a golf course. Anyway. And there's one at the end of it, he gets knocked out by the golf ball. And he gets hit by a golf ball and he falls down and it goes dark. Then it goes up to where he was waking up in a bed. And he says, "Oh my God, what a bad dream I had!" And it's all this funny. He was all a dream. This whole situation was all a dream, and that's what the audience is thinking of. And then he says, "Honey, he goes to his wife, and his wife wakes up and says." And his wife is not the wife who's been playing his wife all those years.
Right.
It's his wife from the Bob Newhart show from the 70s sitcom that he did
Right.
in the
And
70s.
there's a little bit of a confusion between those two shows because they're similar, right? A little
Yeah,
bit.
well, I mean,
Whoa.
but it's like
They did that with Malcolm in the Middle
they
with
got
Brad
that from that.
Cranston.
They got that from that.
They did a skit where he wakes up
Yeah.
and Malcolm in the Middle, she goes, "What's
And-
wrong?" He's like, "I was a drug
Yeah.
killer and I killed people." And it was so.
That's so funny.
Watch on
They got that
YouTube. It's a
from
little
that.
skit. I think
Yeah.
Conan did
They
it.
got that.
Okay.
They got that from that.
That is so cool,
yeah.
though.
But he wakes
Yeah.
up. He says, "Oh my God, I dreamt that I owned an inn and lived in Vermont or whatever."
Right.
I think this whole Newhart lasted for 9 years or whatever.
Right.
I
Wow.
think. So he's
That
like
whole
saying that,
thing.
the whole thing is
So it was
was
part
all
of
a dream
another
that he
show,
had.
but it was his dream.
And so it was just like it was.
Which
You know they made that
Nobody
up at
knew
the
that was
end.
coming.
They didn't have that plan.
Nobody knew it was coming.
They
Nobody
probably
was
didn't
told
either.
about it. Like none of
Yeah.
this cast was told about. Bob Newhart came up with the concept. A couple of the producers, writers type thing
Right.
came up with it.
Yeah.
Didn't tell anybody about it because it was only one scene that they were going to be in. So Suzanne Plachette, who played his wife on the old sitcom,
Yeah.
she could be told about it. She was
Right.
going to
Yeah.
told about. But that was one scene that nobody else knew about because it was filmed, just them together, and that was it.
Right.
Because it ended with them, he said, I couldn't, and the woman he has been married to was like blonde. Yeah, I married a blonde, woman who's, and And then she said, "What kind of blonde woman?" or whatever, that kind of thing. That was a laugh, but that was it. It went dark, and that was the end of the show.
That's good you told me.
It was.
That's
It's
what they got
hilarious.
to know.
It's
That was
hilarious.
I forgot about that. Yeah, there's some famous. That was a famous ending, and other famous ones.
Nobody
Whether or
saw
not you
it
agree,
coming.
like Seinfeld was a hard one to end, and I wouldn't say that's a great ending for it. It felt kind of a little bit messy faced there, but they tied up all these loose strings and stuff, and it ends with them like in jail, like talking.
Yeah.
And they weren't good people, really, but
The one I just thought of now.
I'm sorry.
no,
It
don't
could've been
apologize.
something-
I
it could've
disagree.
been
I'm just
something
thinking,
better.
but it was a famous ending.
Yeah.
I didn't like the ending, but it
Was
was
it?
a famous one.
I'm trying
I
to
know
think
another
of
show.
anything else
Forgive me,
that
you don't like the show either, but Sopranos had a famous ending.
Mm.
I'm kind of in the middle about it, but did y'all watch that show?
Mm-mm.
It ended and the family's in a restaurant, and somebody walks in and is walking towards them. They cut, and you don't know if they're gonna get hit. You don't know what's gonna happen, but how they showed them all, they're all looking and went that way because there's people who are gonna kill the mob boss, But it's like that was kind of cool because it doesn't really answer, and
A lot of
and
people
then
didn't like that.
oh I know, but it was sort of like that's kind of cool. Everybody's talking about it for sure.
They were telling how much I had.
The one that
Yeah.
the one I thought about, it's a cartoon, but it was really well
Uh-huh.
done for a kids cartoon. Was the Camp Laszlo,
Huh.
and through the show, it's about kids at camp, and they have the counselor, and he's he's just like kind of a jerk to them all,
Right.
and he's just kind of crazy. Shows sometimes where he's crazy, and it's like, why would he be around these kids? He seems kind of crazy and all that.
Right.
And through the show, they keep talking about a guy that's wanted from prison that broke out. And they kind of just show it in the side back, like, oh, whatever.
Oh, he's the guy.
So throughout the show, you're just like, you just don't think about it. And then Laszlo, the main character, he always goes in the counselor's cabin to talk to him. And he's always sketchy when he's in there. And you always wondered, why is he? He probably doesn't want to touch the stuff.
Right.
Every time he got towards the closet, he lured him away. And you're always like, that's weird. But they do it subtle every time. So by the end of the show, some big thing happens. And then the cops show up. And you're like, what? The cops pull out their guns, and they're pointing their guns at the counselor, and they put him down, they arrest him, and then they go in the cabin and they pull up the real counselor. And what happened was he escaped, pretended to be a counselor, and stayed in hiding.
So the whole time.
Whole thing. And you're just in there like, what?
That's kind of funny.
It was really cool twist ending,
Yeah.
because you just didn't see it coming. For a kid's cartoon, too, it was pretty good.
Right.
But it was funny, because Laszlo, they attached so well to the counselor, they're like, wait, don't leave!
Uh-huh.
But, it was crazy, but...
Yeah.
That one hit me pretty good.
Some shows are interesting by design.
It's hard to end because
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
hard to
end
end a
in
long
something,
show.
whatever the show may be. Because I think some of the mistakes they make, to me anyway, that some of the shows do to end something, is they take the characters that you've known all this time, whether it be like how many seasons they were, and they change them up. They go off character.
Right.
And I think that's some of the mistakes that you make.
Yeah, and there are all kinds of things that can happen, like writer strikes can happen, showrunners can leave, there can be a change in stuff which totally affects the nature of that show and stuff. Ending, I think another
Parks
clunky
and Rec.
ending, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
I love actually
Has
Great.
both. Did y'all watch the Battlestar Galactica stuff? Y'all were kind of kids.
I didn't get
No.
to the end,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
watched a lot of it. And
Yeah.
I watched it when it was doing reruns on Channel.
I didn't like the end, but I loved everything, the build up. I liked the story structure. I didn't really like the ending, but they waited. So they had a lot of hard time getting the money to make the last season, I guess, which kind of hurt it. But it was just too loose, and they tied it up in this nice, neat little package that it was not for me.
Another one I just thought of that was good, Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Mhm.
It ends with, spoilers, is it okay?
That's fine.
It ends with him in he gets like knocked out.
Right.
This ancient thing, his big creature,
Sure.
wakes up and it's in the future. It's
Right.
like the apocalypse world, and he gets woken up and the lady's like, we need your help because they know who he is.
Right.
I've been waiting for you to wake up. And he gets in the car and the car says, all hail to the king. And he gets his gun and in the last line he just says, or his catchphrase. What was the catchphrase he said? It's like,
Oh shoot, I can't remember.
booyah or something. Whatever it is, he ends with his catchphrase.
Something baby
Cow.
or
Yeah, something with baby, but it ends with
Yeah.
him pretty much driving to the world that he always wanted.
Uh-huh.
He
Oh.
didn't want,
Right.
but he kind of likes to live in it, kind of thing. But he just, drives off to the sunset.
Right.
But it's in this world where now the viewer can just think of endless possibilities now
Right.
in a apocalyptic world now.
They're going to do that, or he'd wake up at S-Mart.
Right. But it was also an iconic to the Army
Right.
of Darkness because they originally wanted it to end like that,
Uh-huh.
but they audiences didn't like that.
Huh.
So it was kind of cool to
Bring it into
eventually
the
brings
show.
it back full circle, and it was a cool.
And they got more time in the show. I've only seen
Yeah.
the first episode, so I got a lot to...
But it also deserves the character well because it's like it's
Right.
what that character.
Right.
He belongs in that world, and
Yeah.
you always feel like an outsider in the other.
Oh,
But that was good too.
I feel like we could talk about this for days
Yeah.
on end. I think, are you guys cool if we kind of wrap it up here pretty soon?
Yeah.
Give you guys a little more time to study. Anyway, that concludes another episode of the P114 Filmmakers podcast. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk. Hopefully, we'll have another broadcast soon, and you can hear more of our ramblings on. Take care.